Okay guys, so we're down at Oztrack, fitting one of these, cold air induction over the radiator. Let's do it.
Oh baby, oh baby.
Inside the Oztrack workshop has some real show-stomping, fire-breathing beasts. And how do you breathe fire? With performance parts. And they have a whole room full of them. So let's find out exactly what we're doing today.
Alright, we're down here at Oztrack. We've got Andrew who's going to give us a bit more information on the products of what he's got and things like that. So Josh, what questions do you have?
So we're going to be upgrading to this one today, right? How is this better than a standard airbox system?
Well, there's two things that we look for in an intake. One is temperature and one is airflow. So these obviously flow quite a lot better just due to their shape and due to where they're placed in the under the bonnet.
Yep.
The other thing is temperature as well. So basically per degree Celsius, the colder the air is when it actually enters the throttle body, you actually gain about a kilowatt. Okay. If it's tuned to sort of handle that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically why we do them. They're a good value way of basically increasing power and torque.
Yep.
And it's something that's quite a common modification for these.
Okay. And I understand with this one that we're fitting today, we got to delete the MAF sensor. It's going. Correct.
Yeah, that's it.
And we're adding an air temperature sensor. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Okay.
So there's different ways that we can do it. We can tune with or without the MAF.
Okay.
Just whatever people want.
Yep.
And then yeah, we do need to measure the temperature of the air going in. So that's why we do install that one.
That's important.
That's it.
Yeah.
So to reap any benefits from this cold air intake, we have to have a tune.
We would suggest have a tune.
Yep.
For it to run safely. We'd suggest have a tune for sure. You can bring on engine lights, you can cause the cars to go into limp mode.
Yep.
They can also run a bit too lean, obviously, because they're getting a lot more air and the air's colder.
So these filters that come with it, do you guys sell them as a replacement, or are these a cleanable filter?
We can sell them as a replacement.
Yep.
But normally, if there's no actual physical damage to the filter itself, they can normally just be washed with like a K&N filter cleaner.
Okay, so we've cleaned up a fair bit of information about the cold air intakes. What other products do you actually have and for what cars?
We offer a massive range of products, mainly for your Holden and HSV V8s. We also offer quite a few products for the Alloytech V6s as well, and also your newer VF and also VE from 2012.5 onwards, the V6s. All the V8s from about year 2000, right up until the latest sort of GENIII and VF models. And we offer basically anything, so tune and intake like we're doing today, or right up to engine replacement, stroker kit, supercharger kit, basically whatever you need. Okay. And then we also do a few other cars as well, so the Jeep and Chrysler V8s, the Hemis that are in those now, we can tune those as well. And also we can do some of the Subarus, some of the Evos as well, Mitsubishi Evos, and also the Toyota 86 and Subaru VRZ. As well.
Alright guys, so the tools you're going to need for this job are cordless screwdriver with a 7mm socket on the end. Now if you don't have one of these, you can just use an ordinary flathead or a ratchet. It's pretty straightforward. Now we may need to have to cut our shroud to actually fit this in. So we've got a renovator. If you don't have one of these, you can use a hacksaw or some tin snips, but we'll talk about that later on in the episode. So let's get to it. As we started on our journey to performance and more horsepower, we first needed to remove the old intake, which was very restrictive and inefficient due to its design, which is over 9 years old, and consisted of an arrangement of plastic piping, 4 hose clamps, and a MAF sensor, which we'll no longer be needing.
Wait, hold on a second. Why do we no longer need it? Okay, so this is the mass airflow sensor that we just pulled out of the intake. So what is the difference between this and what we're replacing it with?
We've got to install this because we've removed that, because we've decided to go with a MAFless tune and a MAFless intake. We basically no room for that, but we still need the information that comes from the intake air temp sensor in there. So we're actually installing a smaller one that's external of the actual sensor, and so that comes on its own harness, which you just sort of plug and play basically. The earlier model ones like your VT to VY, they don't actually, it's actually already separate. So basically you can just pull it out and plug it in, where because this is a VZ LS1, we've actually got to install this patch harness, which is included in the kit.
Alright. Okay, so we've just pulled the intake off and we've noticed that there's quite a bit of carbon build-up on the throttle body. Because this is drive-by-wire, you can't just push the flap with your finger to give it a clean. You actually have to have someone sitting in the driver's seat, get it to turn it on the ignition, not to start the car, and then put your foot on the accelerator. It'll open the valve, like so. And then just get your rag in there like this, with a nice swooping motion to pull all the gunk out. You don't want to force that into the manifold. Back of the flap, be gentle, you don't want to damage anything. Repositioning these is quite difficult. And look at that.
So now you're not going to need the airbox anymore. It's quite simple to remove. You don't actually need to take out these torque bit screws. You can just, simple as, lift it out, chuck it over your shoulder. So we're just using a screwdriver just to mark out on the radiator shroud where we want to actually cut the shroud to fit in the cold air intake. So yeah, if you have a scribe, it'll probably be better, but we're just using a screwdriver. If you're going to trim a little bit off this plastic, you can use a Sterling knife, tin snips, whatever. We're using a renovator just because it makes nice cuts, but we have to use a bit of safety protection for that. Up the new temperature sensor. It's going to put straight into the port where you had your mass airflow sensor. There is a port on the back of the intake where you can actually fit this, but we're going to run it down into the front overall. But you need this, otherwise the car won't start.
What do you mean it won't start?
Well, it won't start without this.
Of course it'll start without that. You don't need that for it to start.
You reckon?
I bet you it'll start.
Alright. If it starts, you get yourself in my car.
Done.
If it doesn't, do something else.
Done. It's going to start. Okay, with this.
Should be in it.
Boom! Alright guys, so I was right, it did start, but it did throw up an engine code on the dash, so it's not recommended that we do that without installing this sensor, as well as a tune. You really need to tune these without the map now, and for that reason we didn't take it out for a spin. But now I get to do something funny to Aaron's car. Awesome. And now it was time for the waiting game, which I'm told won't take long at all. And as it turned out, it would be even longer for me when the A-Team needed to complete the final stage of the tuning with a short drive around town, which means I had to stay here by myself with a little less than nothing to do.
Okay, so the job's done, we've got our cold air intake on, the tune's done, and we're noticing a big difference in performance. Really happy with the job, so
I'd just like to say thanks for that.
No worries.
yep, thank you very
Appreciate
much.
everything you've helped us with.
No worries, thanks for coming.
All the info, and in about a week's time we'll do another episode on how it's improved performance and fuel economy. So keep an eye out for that. There you go, dude. A little bit lower, I think.
Reckon?
Yeah.
Or at the bottom.
Yeah, like that. Nice. That looks sick, dude. Yeah. Here you go, Chief. You have to, dude.
That's what you thought of?
That's what you're getting. I want them like up here somewhere.
Here?
Yeah, mate. Up here somewhere. Right next to the Ozmods.
Come on, man, I thought we were friends.
You have to do it, dude.
Oh,
You lost.
you know, I'm gonna get you back for this. I'll get you back. You don't even know. Maybe I've already got you back and you don't know yet.
Don't be upset, mate.
You'll see.
A little bit higher. Yeah.
We'll make it level. You know what? I'm not even really upset about that.
You shouldn't be. It looks great. Don't forget to put the little one.
No.
Little one too, dude.
You don't want that at the start, or you want it next to it?
I
Little
want it
kittens.
next to it. He's thinking about it. I love it how the pink really brings out the colour of your car.
They more suit your engine, but
Oh. Oh. It's going a bit far. A bit harsh.
that was a bit personal, wasn't it?
Done.
Oh no.